Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live. How are you and you and you? It's so good to see all the smiley faces and hope everybody is doing well. And I hope you had a good Memorial Day holiday weekend. For those of you that are watching live right now, I know sometimes people watch these episodes later on and like 6 months later, a year later, or 2 days later. So it's good to have you with us. I'm your host, Jim Masters. This is our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. We're just coming off that fantastic Memorial Day holiday weekend. And we thank you for being with us. It's going to be a great night of fantastic music as Dina Toriello is with us. She is an award-winning pop rock and Broadway drummer, as well as author and educator. And she is live and direct from beautiful South Jersey. That's in New Jersey, southern part of New Jersey. For those of you who are in our international audience, because we have viewers that watch from all across the United States and Canada, Europe, Africa, and Australia, and all places in between. New Zealand we hear from. And it's really cool to have you here wherever you're watching from and whatever time of day it is. And whether you're watching live or on demand, this is your place for great entertainment and talk, inspiring conversations, levity, and as, of course, we say, lovity here on the Jim Masters Show Live. So hope you guys here in the United States had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. We had some rain here along the coast, and it rained most of the weekend, but you still make the most of it, and we certainly did with family and friends, and so good to see everybody during the course of the holidays. So again, I know it does feel like when you have the Monday off, and it's a holiday Monday, today felt like a Monday, even though it was Tuesday. It always happens that way. It's Tuesday already, and we're operating in our mind like it's a Monday. But it is Tuesday. I don't know about you, but this year is just flying by, isn't it? I mean, here it is. Memorial Day weekend just came and went. The unofficial start of the summer season, not technically, but the unofficial here in the United States with beaches open and parks and everything else. So here's to a fantastic summer for us all. I know some of you in parts of the world are going into winter, so we hope you have a mild winter. And again, we've got an amazing guest coming up. She is extraordinary. Wait till you see the setup she's got. She's all poised. She's got drumsticks in her hand, and she is ready to go. I'm talking about Dina Toriello. She is amazing. We're going to chat with some of our viewers in just a second, but Dina currently holds the drum chair for the off-Broadway revival of Little Shop of Horrors, recently nominated for 2021 Grammy for Best Musical Theater Album. The show is incredible. Began previews on September 17th, 2019, before officially opening on October 17th at the West Side Theater. She took a brief leave in November to do a limited run on Christian Chenoweth's For the Girls at the Nederlander Theater. Previously, Dina held the drum chair for the musical Head Over Heels, which ran in San Francisco before premiering on Broadway in the summer of 2018. The show was on Entertainment Weekly's list of top 10 shows of the year. In addition to her Broadway projects, Dina has worked on a for-hire basis with local artists as well as international artists as well, including the likes of Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20, who began as a member of his RT Quartet in 2017. She continues her work as a clinician and a private instructor. She's a certified drum therapist as well, with DAD, Drums and Disabilities, that wonderful program. She's also a freelance writer for Modern Drummer magazine. She was featured in Sticks and Skins, photography book on the drumming community, and in September 2018, an issue of Modern Drummer magazine. Also served as commentator and contributor member for Carpenters an illustrated discography. Dina is a former member of the New York City-based rock band Antigone Rising. The band toured constantly for several years, racking up 260 shows per year. And they were signed by Lava Atlantic Records and released from the ground up in conjunction with Starbucks. Here, music debut, selling well over 250,000 copies. Over the course of her 20-year tenure with the band, she enjoyed many high-profile gigs, including VH1, appearances on The Today Show, The Tonight Show, A&E's Breakfast with the Arts, Emerald Live, opening slots for the Rolling Stones, Aerosmith, Allman Brothers, Rob Thomas, Joan Jett, Cheap Trick, B-52s, the Bangles. Yeah, B-52s and the Bangles, could you imagine? Additionally, served as cultural ambassadors to the U.S. embassies in Israel, Palestine, and Vietnam. She endorses all kinds of great things like Pearl drums and hardware and Evans drum heads and drum tacks and so much more. She's just amazing. And she is, again, a prolific drummer and a super talent and a super person. We are very excited to welcome her to the show. We're going to live and direct from Southern New Jersey. Welcome, Dina, to the Jim Masters Show Live. Dina, pleasure to have you here, and welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much, Mr. Levity.
Nice Mr. Levity, you got that memo, huh?
I did. A little birdie told me.
A little birdie told you about the levity. I wonder who that could have been.
I heard all about it.
Well, guess what? You've been on less than 2.5 seconds and you're already a levity. The viewers are already commenting. We've got over 40 comments here and they're already saying levity. We welcome everybody to the show. And of course, we welcome everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the notification bell so you never miss any of our episodes live and our pop-up shows and more. Jim Masters TV is it. We welcome all the levities and they welcome you too. All these great comments coming in. Mary's in Florida. She welcomes you. And Crystal in Connecticut welcomes you. Kathleen in New York says hello. Juanita in South Africa, welcome to the show. And Jen Forio says, Dina, so pretty. It's a good way to start a show, huh?
Thank you.
Yeah. And Wozniak's in Jacksonville, Florida. She says, hi, Dina, and welcome. Kathy Short is with us as well. Welcome, Dina. It's so nice to have you on the show with us tonight. Merlin and Kathy's in Cleveland, Ohio. Merlin's Ontario, Canada. She says, welcome, Dina, as well. Oh, a whole host of great comments coming in here. Claudia Bartow is here. Hey, all. Happy Tuesday. Happy first day of June. Of course, our fantastic let's see. Tesla Bella is here. I see she's in the house too, and she says hello.
Hi, cousin.
Yeah, she is. She's amazing, isn't she? We love her. Yeah, she goes hello to everybody. Good to see you, Tess. She knows the whole levity thing. And Anne, and let's see who else. Oh boy, she says, "I know you would be, and I'd be grateful to have you. Thank you, so sweet." So all these great comments coming in here. They go so fast here. They have all these conversations amongst themselves, and we try to play catch up. Hello, Jim and all the lovelies. So happy for the evening. Missed you all. Hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. Welcome, Dina. You are now an official levity. Tess said she put the stamp on it, Dina. You're a levity now.
That's right.
And that's cool. Love it. And everybody's giving everybody hugs and saying hello. And Tess is packing to move. It's been very busy. Just looking at scrolling these great they have chats amongst themselves too, which is kind of cool. And some more coming in here. A few more coming in here. Claps from Jen Forio. She says hello. Sherry Larson says hello, everyone. Good to see all of you. Thanks for all these great comments, everybody. You are the best. We have the best audience. Kathleen Walker in New York City, who works with the New York Mets baseball team. She's got the night off, so she's excited. Hey, Jim. Hi, everyone. Always good to see you. Hope you had a great few days off. We sure did. Tess LaBella. Jim, you look so handsome. Tess, you always know the perfect words to say. Thank you very much. She also makes mean chocolate chip cookies, too. I don't know if you ever had them. She has sent them north from Florida twice. Wow. Way to a man's heart's through his stomach. That is very, very true. Hello, Jim and Lovities. Dina, welcome to the show tonight. You're now a Lovity. Looking forward to your conversation and live music in Lovity Hall. She's also a drummer as well. Christine is in North Carolina. Andreas gives hearts. And Andreas says, Dina, rock. Absolutely. And a Crumpler 4 says the same thing. Jen Berry is a drummer, and she is in Allentown, Pennsylvania area, and she welcomes you as well. And we'll continue scrolling through all these great comments, tons of them coming in as we always get on our show. But how the heck are you through everything we've been going through in the last 14 plus months? Things are opening up. Your phone is ringing. Things are starting to kick into gear again, huh?
Yeah, I had a feeling it would sort of go like this, that with the shutdown and everything being the way that it needed to be for so long, obviously, nothing was happening. The industry has been at a complete standstill. And then once it became moderately safe for it, for it to sort of lift, that the floodgates would open and we'd be back to work and things would start rolling. And that's kind of what's been happening in my world. I've gotten busier with, during the course of the school year, I had been doing a lot of virtual clinics for schools. I figured, take advantage of the opportunity to reach them the way that everyone is now reaching each other, right? Through Zoom and through Google Meets and virtual land. So I had reached out to schools, all around the country and had the opportunity to do a clinic that I developed and was able to do it here from my basement and did some virtual sessions. If you see, kind of obnoxious microphones around my drum kit, that's what that's for. My home studio here, set up for some virtual remote recording. And I've been doing that. And, you kind of, it's trial by fire, and I'm not really a tech person. My dad always makes a joke, oh, Mr. High Tech, because he can barely like dial his phone, and he always, teases himself that he's pretty brutal when it comes to technology. And I think the apple maybe didn't fall too far from that tree with me. I blame it on my age. I don't know, but I'm getting there. I figured it out. I started to learn Logic, which is what the theater community uses as their, digital audio workstation of choice, and
Right.
started recording from here. And, I've been busy. I've been doing stuff, and, my phone started ringing this past week for live gigs. Things are popping up in Manhattan. And one of my former music directors called me to do something at this apparently a new amphitheater outdoor space in the Chelsea area of Manhattan. It's like a 700 seat amphitheater. So I'm doing something there at the end of June, and my music director from Little Shop reached out to me to do some work with him of things that have just come up. And now, now that things are opening and we're able to begin working again, and, there's that. And then of course, Broadway is set to reopen in September. Little Shop did get official notice that we will be reopening on September 21st.
Isn't that cool news?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you get affiliated? Tell us a little bit about how you got affiliated with this incredible production. Little Shop of Horrors is what we're talking about, folks.
Well, I need to back up just a little bit, if you could indulge me. I got to rewind slightly. So you mentioned Antigone Rising, which was the band that I was with for the better part of 20 years. And, oh, nicely done. You're on it, Jim. You're on it.
We are on it. We are on it.
Mr. High Tech, like legit Mr. High Tech. Look at you.
Mr. Legit, Mr. High Tech, and Mr. Levity all rolled into one.
Amazing.
For one low price.
It's a one-stop shop here. I love it. So, for various reasons, a couple of the girls in the band were having babies, and, we couldn't tour the way that we'd been touring, and things just looked different for us, and yeah. I had been making my living as a musician. I was a full-time musician. And for me, doing much of anything else really wasn't an option. So yeah. I always wanted to do Broadway. It was a dream of mine. I sort of have this, and people who know me as like the rock Dina kind of laugh that, oh, you're a theater nerd? Like, how did that happen? Like, you're a rock chick, And I said, yeah, but as a young kid, I started playing drums when I was 8, but around the age of, I guess I was probably 11 when my mom took us to see our first Broadway show. And I sat in the front row, center orchestra, looking into the pit going, oh my God, that's amazing. I want to do that. I want to do that. So I sort of had this like split screen dream of playing the Garden and playing Broadway. They both were legit, passionate dreams of mine. Yeah. So when Antigone was, a little slow and, in mommy mode for a little while, and the girls were kind of rooted at home taking care of their kids, I had started reaching out to people who I knew in the community who had chairs and we're playing Broadway shows, and I got to go sit and watch, kind of get a feel for what that looked like. And the first show I got to see through the kindness and generosity of Andres Ferrero. He invited me to go see him play in the Heights, which after like I put my brain back into my head after I watched him play that show, I was like, what the heck was that? Like, how am I supposed to do that? Like, that was crazy. So that was number one. Then I watched him play Hamilton. Then I watched my friend Sammy Marandino at Kinky Boots, and I watched Wicked, Matt Vander End at Wicked. So I had a different, sort of snapshot of what shows could look like. They have a bit of a variety of, musical stylings in there, among the bunch of those. But anyway, when I saw Sammy play Kinky Boots, one of the musicians on the show was also a contractor, a music contractor. So Broadway has people that actually, will put the musicians in place. So a lot of times the music supervisors or the music directors will have people that they want to bring into their show. And if they don't, the music contractor can make suggestions and get people in. So for Head Over Heels, which began work February 26th of 2018, they wanted, for those not familiar with the show, it's a jukebox musical story unrelated to the Go-Go's, but a story told with the music of the Go-Go's. So it was a completely unrelated story, and they used the music of the Go-Go's to tell this beautiful story. And they wanted an all-female band. They wanted an all-female pit, and they wanted it to look like the Go-Go's. 5 musicians, guitar, bass, drums, piano. And lucky for me, I mean, sad that this is a testament to how few women actually are working the Broadway circuit in, drum chairs and, guitar and bass and, sort of less traditional instruments for women. Nobody involved in the show knew a female drummer with a rock background. Not one. Not the music supervisor, not the music director. And these were not, like, it wasn't their first show. These people had been working shows for years, and they're very prolific and very accomplished. And so this music contractor who I had met at Kinky Boots a couple of years before had been talking to Sammy, and Sammy reminded him that we had met and you need to call her. Like, she's right for this gig. And guess what happened? He sent me an email. I was down here at the house in South Jersey, poured my cup of coffee, flipped open my laptop, like, gee, what bills do I have to pay? What's going on today? And, whatever. And blink, there was this email from this guy about Broadway gig. I almost fell off my chair. It's like one of those things when you stop looking for it, then it comes to you. I had been, putting the word out and really kind of working and, networking and doing my thing. And I was like, well, I've done all I can do. The rest is like, I kiss it up to God at that point, and sure enough, it happened. I got the email, and that got me into Head Over Heels. And then I, met more people and did other gigs, and, the way it works in any industry, but I networked and my name got out. And the music director for Little Shop, 20 minutes later, coming back to your original question, the music director for Little Shop had mentioned to this same contractor, music contractor was in charge of the pit for Little Shop. And he was talking to my music director, and the music director had said, I've been doing this for a while, and I have sort of like my A team of people who I call, regularly, and I want to expand my network a little bit. And my name was suggested as, you should call Dina. So I had coffee with Will, and he offered me Little Shop. So I think we had coffee. It was probably, I'm going to say maybe like mid to late July. And we started rehearsals. I think it was the second or third week of August. I mean, it was like, like that. And, in the interim, things had, came and went for me. I was offered my closing night of Head Over Heels. I was offered another Broadway show that night by the same music supervisor. And as it can happen, there were creative differences, and the show fell apart 5 days into its first, workshop. So that show never materialized. And then same with another off-Broadway show. And, you think you have something in the cooker, and then it doesn't materialize for whatever reason, and you're bummed. And then something else, thankfully for me, came along, and it was Little Shop. And it's been just another incredible experience. Head Over Heels was amazing because it was my first. And I think it will always have a very special place in my heart because it was the first opportunity that I had to do a Broadway show. But the people involved in that show were just like, I can't even say enough wonderful things about those people, every single person involved. And with a Broadway show, I mean, it takes a village. There's a lot of people involved and you have no idea until you get on the inside of it. You're like, holy crow, like I had no idea. It takes a village and there's a million people and they were all wonderful. And I left there very sad to, to part ways with all them. And then I stepped into a little shop and there were a few people that I worked with on Head Over Heels who were in that show as well, which was amazing and just wonderful to work with them again. And then other people who I had never worked with who are, kind of monsters in the industry, Jonathan Groff, who was in Hamilton and, has done Mindhunter.
Yeah.
I blanked out for a minute and, Frozen and all these other things and sweet and kind and wonderful as he is talented and Christian Borle and, all these people that have done this forever. And
fantastic names.
They're incredible. They're just incredible, wonderful, talented, kind people. And it's, I say this, I feel like I need to be pinched every day when I go in and out of the theater. It's like I float in and out because I'm just so happy that that's actually my job, that I get to do that and get paid for it. It's really remarkable.
Were you the kid that was pulling the pots and pans out of your mother's kitchen and starting to bang on them and come up with a beat and
Guilty.
all? Musical influences within your family, Dina?
None.
So you were the breakout.
Mm-hmm.
So how were you inspired and encouraged? Who were some of those in your life early on as a youth that inspired you to foster and pursue this love of music and the arts and specifically, drums?
There's one reason. It's Karen Carpenter. Period. End of story. She was the reason that I became interested in drumming. For those who don't know, because I wish I had $1 for every person who has said this to me, Karen Carpenter was a drummer.
That's right. Before they put her out front, she didn't really want to be out front in the beginning as the face, right? And then her voice was unbelievable, unmatched, but a phenomenal drummer.
Phenomenal. And so my parents were into music. They loved music. They listened to music. They had 8-track tapes. Going a little deep on that one. 8-track tapes. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 8-track.
Yeah. And sometimes they would get stuck in the car.
Yeah. You'd have to That was always tragic.
That's what I heard. I read that somewhere. I read it somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've heard that too. And the Carpenters were in the mix and I fell in love with them. I loved Karen's voice. And then I realized as I started getting the albums and I would read, liner notes and figure out that, Karen Carpenter drums. I was like, wow, she plays the drums. Whoa. And my mom knew that I was clearly, obsessed, and they were coming in concert to the Westchester Premier Theater, which is now defunct. It was off over the Tappan Zee Bridge in New York. And I can picture it like it was yesterday. I was 2 houses down in my neighborhood playing baseball with my neighbors. And my mom opened the front door and stood on the front stoop and yelled down to us. And she held up the tickets and went, "I got them." And she yelled. And I knew that they were tickets to the Carpenters. And I was like, I am so excited.
Tessa, God bless Aunt Barbara.
Yeah, I was 7. So
that was
we went. Yeah, it was a little while ago, and we went to the concert. And my dad had come home from work with a bouquet of flowers for me to give to Karen, and he went up to the security guard before the concert started, and schmoozed back in the days where you could actually. This stuff could actually work. You can't get away with this anymore. But he went up to the security guard. And see those kids over there? Those 2 little kids? Those are my kids. See, my daughter, she's got flowers for Karen. She would really like to give them to Karen, but I'm a little worried if she goes up during the concert, it might make it. I don't know if people will rush the stage, if it'll make it difficult for you, make your job a little tougher. Anyway, she could give the flowers to Karen.
I'm
He was
laughing
like,
because I think your father and my father must have known each other because I remember we went to Yankee Stadium once. Well, we used
that
to go to
worked in Yankee
Yankee.
Stadium.
Well, we used to go to Shea Stadium and now Citi Field and Yankee Stadium as kids growing up in New York on Long Island. So we'd go to both. And I remember as a kid, very, very similar, something that schmooze situation where I think we got the general, then eventually his company, they had box seats for everybody. But prior to that, when we were really small, I remember we had to follow him up this ramp. And then there was this like chain link fence, and there was this older gentleman who was in one of those, they looked like real ushers. I mean, they were very well dressed with the hat and everything.
Sure, yeah.
And he was standing on the other side of this chain link fence. And on the other side of the chain link fence was the ramp to all the box seats. So I remember us going up, Dad, we're supposed to go this way. Follow us here. So we all would follow him, and he would take out a $20 bill, fold it between his fingers, slip it through the chain link fence. The usher the older gentleman would never turn around and look. He would just cup the 20, and all of a sudden the fence opened and he was dusting off box seats.
Amazing. Just like that.
You can't, I don't think that occurs anymore.
No, pretty sure they don't, because I think those box seats are like $1,500 a night.
So I think our fathers, same ilk.
Totally. And it worked. So intermission from the opening act to the Carpenters, I was standing in their dressing room and she signed, my poster. And apparently I talked to her. I really have very little recollection of that conversation. Apparently at the age of 7, I was concerned that I'd waited too long to start playing drums and maybe I missed my opportunity. Apparently I asked her, how old were you? And she said 15. And I was apparently relieved that I hadn't missed my moment, so. So, and then of course, during the show, I watched her play, and they always featured her. She had to front the band for all the ballads and everything, but she would always be featured during the concert. That was the compromise that she and Richard sort of struck for him making her front the band. And so she soloed, and I remember sitting in the audience going, look at my jaw hanging down going, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. Yeah. When I was 8, I started taking private lessons, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Did you admire folks like Buddy Rich too, and some of the other greats?
I did, and I do. If I'm being honest, my parents' jazz wasn't in their repertoire, and I really didn't get exposed to really much jazz. I mean, I have it in my collection, and I listen to it a bit, but I don't really have the appetite for it as a listener. And to really be, I think, to fully appreciate it and to be good at it, you need to understand it. It's like its own language, Yeah. And I never dove in that deeply. But yes, Buddy Rich is, undoubtedly one of the greatest, if not the greatest. And that's such a hard thing when you start throwing those labels around, because there are so many amazingly gifted players, and they all, have different things that they bring to the table, and different skill sets and different, whatever
approaches and essences. Merlin in Canada is actually watching live and asks, do you like Sheila E?
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah. Sheila
she's
E.
brilliant. Family of, musicians and percussionists and all that kind of stuff. She grew up talking about speaking the language. She does it effortlessly because it's her vocabulary. She just grew up around that, and it's a seamless transition when it's around you all the time.
Absolutely. So. Tessa actually says as well that you are an amazing softball player too.
I was pretty good, pre-rotator cuff surgery, but yes, I was a partial scholarship athlete to Penn State University.
Oh, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
What position did you play?
Mostly third base. That was sort of my favorite, and I think my best. But as the need arose, they plugged me in. So my sophomore year, I played second base. My freshman year, I platooned between first and third. I did some innings behind the plate. I, did a couple innings at shortstop, whatever.
I did baseball too in school, and they would always put me out in the outfield because of my long, strong arm, left-handed too. So I was in right field, and because of the arm, they would always toss me there too. And Tess says coach as well, huh?
Are you my publicist?
When you get Tess on your side, that's it. That's everybody back off. She's in there. She's the head of the parade.
She is.
We
Yes.
love her.
I coached as well. I actually coached at the Division I level. I was at Seton Hall University for 5 years.
That's cool.
And yeah. So I've done high school and college and private lessons and, all that kind of stuff.
Were you in band and all in school too? Did you play, in school?
I did. I did all the school band stuff from 4th grade through 9th grade. And again, if I'm being completely honest, in 9th grade, I felt like the material that I was playing was the same level of difficulty or lack thereof as it was when I was in like 5th grade. I'm like, is this ever going to get any harder? I wanted to be challenged, and it just wasn't happening. I'd started taking lessons privately when I was 8. So, and my reading was insane. Like, I was a great reader back then because of all the stuff that he had me doing, all the different books that I'd worked out of. And, I was reading at a very high level at that point in my career. I was 15.
15.
I don't know that I can call it a career quite yet, but you know what I mean? I just didn't feel challenged, and I lost interest in the school band thing. So I bailed after my freshman year. And then by that point in time, I was playing in garage bands, cover bands, working on original stuff. I was always, I can say this with confidence. The happiest day of my mother's life was when I got my driver's license, because I was a 3-sport athlete. I was in bands. I was like going here, going there. I had rehearsal at this person's house and over here and this and that and whatever.
She had to take you around.
She was like, mercy, like, here's your car, beat it. Like, go do what you got to do.
Go knock them dead, kiddo.
I was busy. I was a busy bee. Yeah.
That's incredible. So you mentioned Karen Carpenter as a significant influence. Are there others too, other individuals and or groups that coming up the ranks you always admired as well?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much you can see behind me, but the Beatles, my boys, there they are, all around me, everywhere. They're like all around the room. Yes, after the Carpenters came the Beatles.
Did I see a jukebox that back there too?
That's a 1953 Seaberg. Thank you. Good, I Spy. So the Beatles, yes. I definitely did a swan dive into their catalog once I sort of got exposed to them and just lost my mind. I am definitely my favorite. I love lyrics. I love a good melody, and I love a story. And listening to, the stuff that they wrote was mind blowing. I just couldn't believe it, and so that was sort of like sixth. I think by fifth and sixth grade, I transitioned. My uncle Larry, shout out to Uncle Larry, who actually gave me the jukebox, by the way.
Did he really?
Yeah.
No, we love Uncle Larry.
He restored it and did everything, fixed it all himself, and gave it to me as a gift.
You don't have a pinball machine back there too, do you?
No, but he's got about probably 20 of them in his basement. He does those too.
They're popular again and very expensive too. The retro, you can get a good buck for those.
Totally. So for my birthday, I think I want to say like maybe even 4th grade, it could have been that early. He used to always buy me an album, and it was always something like cool. Like I remember he gave me Tom Petty, Damn the Torpedoes one year. He gave me Billy Joel, Turnstiles, Styx, Cornerstone, I think was one of his gifts. Jay Giles Band, Freeze Frame, it was always like a popular rock album. And he sort of kind of hipped me to some of that stuff as a young kid. And I got really into Liberty DeVito, was a huge, inspirant. Is that's a good word?
Inspiration?
Yeah, that one. Ay, ay, ay.
In sprints. Hey,
In sprints, Lovity.
write that down. I was just about to say, Lovity slipped out of this. So in sprints.
Ay, ay,
There's
ay.
lots of in sprints on the
Ye
Lovity show.
That's right. So I used to love playing along to those records. I did a lot of the typical rock stuff. Zeppelin, The
Yeah.
Who,
Yeah.
um, Billy Joel. Who else? The Pretenders, Tom Petty. Uh, a whole bunch of that stuff was sort of in my wheelhouse, and
Yeah.
I used to just. I'm pretty sure I spent more time on that than I did on my lessons, and I think my teacher used to get a little annoyed with me once in a while because to me it was just more fun to sit down and play along to a song. That was the cool stuff. You're making music at that point, and that really allowed me to step in. I was in my first band, I think, when I was 12, and all
Mm.
the guys in the band were seniors in high school,
Yeah.
and I was playing all these rock tunes, and it was just what I knew how to do. So uh, that was sort of my wheelhouse.
That is really cool. Now, I heard just moments ago from a little birdie watching that you also
Can't
there's lots
imagine who.
there's lots of them flying around tonight in Lovely Land. um, that you also really like Shirley Bassey.
My third favorite. She was my
I love
mom's
her too.
favorite, and she
She's incredible, huh?
she used to. My mother used to blare Shirley Bassey at
Yeah.
like uber high volumes, and it was a little painful. She wasn't my favorite, but now I do have the albums that were my mom's or have integrated into my collection out
Goldfinger.
of respect for my mom. Yes, and every once in a while I'll pull it out and listen to it, and I smile in memory of my mom. But no, she wasn't my favorite.
Yeah. Christine's also a drummer as well. She says, love your music percussion room. Great stories.
Thank
Thanks
you.
playing live, which she's going to do as well. Tell us, I mean, obviously, yeah, we won't be able to see the whole thing, but maybe tell us a little bit about your setup. It looks fantastic around you there.
Yeah, thank you. It keeps me busy. This is so this main my main kit here is what I've been using for the clinics and for the recordings. And then I have another setup, the Silver Sparkle behind me, which is a consolidated setup. I have quiet mesh heads on that kit. So if I need to do work late at night or if my wife is working or something along those lines, I will practice on that kit. That drum kit, by the way, is the first kit that I ever owned. My parents bought that for me in 1977. Oops, did I say that out loud? They bought that for me a while ago, and I've had it ever since, and I will never get rid of it. So that, and interestingly enough, Karen Carpenter's first drum kit was also a Silver Sparkle, and I didn't even know that when I got it. It was meant to be. But so I have the two kits here. I actually have another setup in another location because I am working on learning some more Broadway material to work as a sub on other shows up north when things get reopened. So I have another setup somewhere else for that. And then I have a bunch of snare drums and things. Let's see if I can do this without making you all dizzy. But you can see the snare drums and things against that wall over there. So that's kind of that's the music room. You've been given the official virtual tour.
You know, it looks very comfortable and cool and relaxed. And,
Yeah.
it's a great place to be inspired, huh?
Yeah, it's great. It's comfortable, and it's the acoustics are pretty good down here. For the recording stuff, believe it or not, I can manage all of that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just it's a really comfortable space, and I have all my my posters and everything around the wall and all the walls, and it just feels good down here for me. I come down here and it's like I could literally spend 12
Yeah.
hours down here, and it just feels good.
In addition to being a prolific drummer, you're also an author and an educator too, right? Tell us before we have you play, because I know they're asking, are you going to play? And absolutely she is. But I want them to realize that, you're so full Monty on this. You love it so much that you not only want to play and love playing, but you also want to share it with the world and share others and empower and inspire others coming up the ranks. Tell us a little bit about some of that background as an educator teaching others?
Well, I officially, if put that in air quotes, officially worked as an educator for, I lost track of the years, probably about 9 years at Passaic County Community College in Paterson, New Jersey, and taught music there. I actually, when I was at Seton Hall, I got my master's in education. So that allows
I
me,
was born with mine.
but I'm,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A great Tiffany.
so that,
I don't have
that
to
little,
explain that, do I, to the audience?
I don't know, maybe.
Just look up the graphic, the font, the last name. But
You gotta be quick to keep up with you. We gotta just, things are
Tess is
rolling.
quick. She got it. Tess is quick. You got to laugh, right? You got to
Absolutely.
laugh. If you don't
Absolutely.
laugh, then all
There's no
bets are
hope.
off.
Yeah.
So
I got to
that's great.
work as an adjunct professor for a number of years, and simultaneous to that, I was doing private lessons, which I still do, and I love, as you can probably tell, I love to talk about music and drums. I don't know, I may have given that away this far. I'm not sure. Probably could have gone either way, but
they never told you to go into comedy, huh? My father has always said, Jim, you should have gone into comedy, and you were born 30 years too late.
No, I'm good. I'm good here behind the drums. That's enough for me. But
all the rest is just extra, no charge.
That's right. That's right. I'm working on launching a new business model, which will combine my coaching with music. So I'm going to be promoting my work as a coach, drum coach, mentor, that sort of thing. So I'm combining the two worlds, and we'll be rolling that out officially very soon. But I mean, I do that in my lessons anyway. Also working with an organization called Maestra, and mentor, they have a mentorship program there. So I'm already involved in that, and that kind of thing. So,
and you've done some wonderful work with dads too. Tell us about that organization. That's a beautiful thing to be doing, Dina.
Yeah, I haven't worked with them in a little while, but I was working regularly before I got, swallowed up by Broadway.
Yeah.
I was working in some schools in North Jersey as part of the Drums and Disabilities program after getting, officially trained and certified. And I actually had the opportunity to do this in Israel at a school for special needs kids in Israel, which was one of the most incredible experiences of my life, truly. And it really, the long and short of it, in terms of what it actually does, is drumming actually integrates left and right brain. So for people with disabilities, and actually my undergraduate degree in college was sort of counseling based. So this is sort of in my wheelhouse as well in terms of my level of interest. But, with things like pervasive developmental disorder and autism and Asperger's and OCD, ODD, oppositional defiance disorder, things like that, you can use the mechanism of drumming. So we didn't put the kids behind drum kits, but they were usually with sticks and practice pads, and asking them to do specific sticking patterns, or to sort of, give back to you what you're asking from them, and repeat this, and, to really pay attention and get even the coordination. And the thing that was so amazing about the kids with whom I worked in Israel, there was this one little girl. She couldn't have been more than probably 6 years old if I had to try to put an age on her, which I'm not really good at in general, but I'd put her around 6, maybe 6 or 7. She was completely nonverbal and wouldn't even do eye contact. She didn't talk, and she wouldn't look at you. And I was trying to engage her in these really simple, sticking patterns. And don't you know, by the end, like, she couldn't even hold sticks. She were just doing it with her hands because she wasn't even able to hold sticks. And by the end of the session, she looked at me and she smiled, and I lost it. It was just the most incredible thing. And the people from Beit Issi Shapiro, which was the hospital in which we were doing this, were taking pictures, and they actually captured that moment on film. And I have a picture of it, and it was it makes me like it brings me to tears anytime I look at that picture. It's really amazing. So those are some of the experience that I had with that, but it's pretty amazing stuff.
That really, really is. I mean, it's like a full circle experience. This has
Yeah.
been so much a part of your life, Dina, and to be sharing it in the way that you do with others. So, coaching, is it done virtually or in person? Combination? How does that work on your
Could
end?
it could be whatever, it could be either, obviously,
Yeah,
like a lesson. I do lessons virtually. The coaching can be done virtually. I mean, the coaching really is easier to do virtually than the actual lesson part, because with drum lessons, it's really hard because of latency. You can't play at the same time, and there's all these issues with things being delayed. So it really has to be, to do it virtually. This is what it should sound like. Now you go, or this is what it should look like, or get your hand to do this, or whatever, work on your fulcrum. And then they have to show you, you can't do it at the same time. But if you're doing a coaching, mentoring situation, it's really more conversational. It's really
yeah,
more about that. And it's about, having dialogue and explaining and, those sorts of things. So it's very well suited for a virtual
yeah.
situation.
That is really, really cool. Broadway, they're talking September as an opening as well. So you're really looking forward to that, huh?
Yeah, I am. By the time we go back to work, it will have been over a year and a half since I've seen some of these people. And
Yeah,
it's just, I mean, you see them every day. You go to work, you do 8 shows a week, 6 days a week with these people. And, to not see them, and not because like the show closed and you've just moved
no,
on, but
yeah,
because that was your show and it just sort of
right.
suspended in time. And now you're going to go back to doing that show again. It's going to be, I imagine it's going to be a really, really emotional day when we all get into the theater again and we get to see each other. And there'll be, because, we didn't get to say goodbye. It was
No,
just like we went home thinking we'll be back tomorrow to do the show. And
and the phone
we never came
rings,
back. Yeah.
right? For so many people in so many different ways, right?
Yeah.
And how have you been through the year as everything was closed? How have you been, keeping busy and creative and sane?
Yeah, it was a challenge at first. There was a little bit of the disappointment and the heartache of
Yeah,
having to sort of regroup, and sort of
sure.
like get your sea legs and realize that, because initially it was like, okay, we're closed through April. So you think of 4 weeks or whatever it was. And then, oh, we're closed till June or July. Okay, and then once we got, I think, to the July, the last extension, I think we kind of knew deep down that it wasn't, based upon what we were hearing on the news, that it wasn't going to just open. But the official word obviously came down, and then we knew it was a much longer next phase and a next, wait and all that stuff. So once we kind of I'm not going to speak for anybody else. Once I got to that point and knowing that it was a much longer haul, it took me a minute, but then it was like, okay, how do we make the best of this? Let's pivot. Let's refocus and figure out what to do, which is pretty much what, everybody had to do, because it was
Yeah,
like, what else do you do? You
right.
sit at home, twiddle your thumbs, or you make the best of it. So that forced me to, get some gear and figure out technology a little bit and be able to do clinics virtually. And I've been having a blast with it. The kids have been so inspired, and so the questions and everything that they ask, and they're so into it. And it's, I get to talk about Broadway and demonstrate some things, and it was really a blessing to be able to do that. So you talk about making lemonade from the lemons. That was
It's
kind of it
exactly
for
it.
me. So
Although of all the people that can twiddle their thumbs and make lemonade out of it, being a drummer, you could probably twiddle your thumbs and come up with a new tune. You're twiddling them
yeah,
now.
yeah,
You're
I
actually
wrote a
twiddling
few.
them
Yeah.
now. You've been twiddling your thumbs since you were 3.
That's right.
And it led to this illustrious career. See what happened?
Uh-huh. That's
Folks,
right.
if you want to twiddle those thumbs, do it. You never know what's going to happen.
Never know. You never know.
Would you like to treat us to some incredible talent, prowess, and share it with us? We would love
Oh,
it.
I don't know about that, but I'll play my
I'll
drums for
play
a
my
little
drums
bit.
for you.
But sorry, I have a very self-deprecating sense of humor
Oh, it's the best.
that I
Oh,
need
it's
to not have
fantastic.
anymore, but I can't seem to shake it. So
I'm sure if
yes, I
Phyllis
would
Diller
love
was
to
still
play for
around, you'd
you.
hang out with her.
I would love to play something from Little Shop. For those of you who maybe are in the area, in the New York area, that might feel like coming out and seeing a show, I
Um,
highly recommend it. It's
Melissa
super fun.
Call says, "Hi, Dina. You're such an inspiration to so many." That's
Oh, Melly,
Melissa.
you're sweet. Thank you.
And Sandra Ferreira. So excited to hear you and see you perform. And Sue Penza. Dina is an amazing drummer. I wonder if she's any relation to Ralph Penza, who used to be very well-known news anchor on WNBC Channel 4 in New York City. Ralph Penza, and I think he was from New Jersey. Your audio sounds fantastic. Really, really terrific. Really nice. And the minute I say that, your sound went out. And the minute I said the audio sounds good. So the sound went out. Yeah. Something adjusted, maybe. Don't you just love the internet, everybody? The wonderful internet. Christine says the steering wheel is a great job set as all. No, nothing coming from that mic.
Hello.
There you are.
Okay.
Yep.
Fabulous.
Nobody move. Don't open a window.
You know what I just realized on this platform? When the cable came out, it automatically sends it into mute mode. In case you ever have that issue, now you know how to troubleshoot it. You're welcome. That's free of charge.
That's free of charge. So what happened? Something unplugged?
Yeah, I have a port on my MacBook to be able to plug my USB into it and to connect all my gadgets here. And I went to spin the laptop and the cable just came out a little, the port came out a little bit, and then it automatically put it into mute mode.
Triggers it into a mute sound.
But
yeah.
I think we're good. So
Yeah.
that being said, I'll play you a little ditty. I'll play you the opening from Little Shop. How about that?
That sounds awesome. Look forward to it.
All right, stand by.
Love it. Fantastic. Very, very cool.
Thank you.
Really nice. Really, really nice. Want to take a look at some of the comments that are coming in. Of course, Tess, loving it too, with hearts and emojis of all kinds. And we got Maria H in the house too. Go Cuz. Maria H.
Thanks, Cuz.
And she wrote a letter to Ralph Penza to see if they were related. Ralph Penza from WNBC. He graciously replied, "May he rest in peace." Thank you, Sue. Kathy in Cleveland, you got emojis and hearts. That's cool. And Cleveland Mary in Florida, she is saying fantastic. We love that. And Linda Odell in Florida, claps, claps, claps. They're giving you emoji standing ovations, which is what's cool here. What a treat from Tess. Jane, who's one of our lovely viewers watching in Sweden, where it's late night. She gives you lots of claps. Merlin in Ontario, Canada, the same thing. Juanita says, amazing. This is great. Sandra Ferraro says, go Dina. Woot, woot, bravo. Top of the Ridge Farm Bed and Breakfast. Do you know them?
Yes. We vacationed there about 2 weeks ago. The most amazing bed and breakfast ever in New Hampshire. They're in New Hampshire.
Oh, New Hampshire.
You need to go find them and stay there because it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Truly. Yes.
What town are they in?
New Durham.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right? Is that right? Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Durham. It's a great area. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
We'll have to check them out.
Yeah.
Crystal Nolan says, amazing. Maybe we'll come to Top of the Ridge and we'll do the show live from that bed and breakfast.
There you go.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Crystal Nolan, amazing. And she's in Connecticut. Kathleen Walker, New York City, says, awesome. Tess is fabulous. Christine Clifton, claps and all kinds of emojis. Loved it. Great job, Dina. Really, really nice. Cool stuff. And she's just tickling us with her incredible talent tonight. Carla watches from South America and Brazil. She says, so cool. And Margaret Graziano says, so great to hear you, Dina.
Thank
And
you.
love it. And a Crumpler 4 says, go Dina, 2 claps. And a little bit of rock and roll, please, Merlin in Canada. Karen Wagner, welcome. All of you that are joining us, we encourage you to subscribe and show some levity to the YouTube channel. Subscribe and click that notification bell. We would love it. So happy to see you play. Miss ya, Karen says. And let's see, Top of the Ridge says, we would love to have you. Fantastic. Start the car. We're going to New Hampshire. And from one softball player to another, you are awesome. From Amy. That's fantastic. She's also a brilliant poet too. So she sends you her love as well. Cool stuff. It's cool to see all this, love and support coming in from everybody live on the show. How does it make you feel? I mean, you do this out of the love of it. You love it. You love what you do. And I think she disappeared. Oh, her Wi-Fi, it looks like it went down. Well, hopefully she will be back. She disappeared. Well, while here she comes. Here she comes.
Internet just tossed me like a salad. I'm like, what just happened? I don't know what happened.
I'm sure you said a little more than that, but we won't repeat it.
Never have an issue down here. That literally has never happened before. So sorry.
And
I'm done. Bye.
I was going to say, and talk about a cold out. You didn't even get a chance to do it, but
whoops.
Yeah. Oh, well, hey, if we survive the last 14 months, anything like this is just, is just child's play.
I thought you might wait for me.
Of course. I'm a gentleman. A Crumpler 4 says, Allison and Penny think you're amazing. And Linda Odell, who's in Jacksonville, Florida, one of our regular loveties, says, thank you, Dina, for sharing your life stories, playing the drums for us loveties. Before a lightning bolt comes through our ceilings or something, do you want to play some more?
Sure. Yeah.
Tess loves the laughs tonight.
Let's take advantage of the connection before something squirrely happens again. Ay.
Yeah. You're going to do a little Babalu, Desionet? Got some explaining to do, Lucy.
Yeah, lots of splaining after that move.
Right. Just whoosh. Fade to black.
Crazy.
She's all wired up and everything.
I know, these wires are getting in my way. Right. I think we're good. All right, I'm going to do another one from Little Shop. So for those of you who probably have no idea about the theater world because you've never done it, but when you get charts, sometimes the person who writes your orchestrations will give you notes at the beginning of the song. And the note that our music director gave us for this one is Motown Zeppelin. So it's got a little rock and it's got a little groove and it's got like a little bit of everything in here, but Motown Zeppelin. So he definitely wanted this one to rock. So hopefully this will, even though it's a show tune, hopefully you guys will get a little rock out of this.
Cool. Excellent. Oh, amazing. Really, really cool stuff.
That's a fun moment for those who might be familiar with the story. That's when the plant is sort of encouraging, Seymour to kill people, and the plant's like all big and talking at him, and it's pretty funny.
How do you like that? Because that's a whole other world too. When you're on stage and you're playing with, as opposed to being in a band, when you're doing what you're doing with the group and you're on stage and you're not necessarily following animation or following a film or following actors and actresses. You're part of the overall production, but you're also coming in at key times, key moments to enhance and sort of thread the storyline through the musicianship and through the melodies. Tell us about that aspect of what you're doing as well, and how cool that is versus when you were in the bands and you were out on stage just doing your thing as you guys designed it. Your storytelling through the performance in these Broadway productions, right?
Oh, yeah, and, it's an interesting thing. I think it's counterintuitive what I'm about to say because when you talk about musicals, obviously musicals means music, right? And you think, "Oh, well, the band is really important and the music has to be." It's not like being in a band. When you're on a stage and you're in a band and you're storytelling the songs that you've written, there's only 4 or 5 or 3 of you, however many are in your band. It's a very small self-contained unit, and you can shape that however you want. It's all about you. When you're a member of an orchestra, when you're in the pit, it is so not about you. Like, you are strictly there to support and serve what's happening on stage. That is your only job. And if you have an ego and you wanna be a show off and you wanna have it be about you, then you are not meant for musical theater. That's not the place for you. You
Yeah.
need to go be in a band. But, it really is, when I said earlier about the whole "it takes a village" thing, it really means that. And for me, again, going back to my sports background, it's a perfect fit for me because and being a Ringo fan and a Karen Carpenter fan, I was never the Buddy Rich type. I wasn't about solos and
Just
showing
going
off and
off.
chops blowing and doing all the
Right.
fancy stuff. I'm
Right.
strictly from a mentality of I want to serve the song. I want to support the song like Ringo did for the Beatles, like Karen did for the Carpenters, and a lot of other drummers have done over the years.
Team player, like Tess says.
It's all about being a team player, and I love that. I love it. I love being this much a part of something so big, and that really is what it is. It's you're just a little tiny bit of that, and you get to, in your little tiny way, help tell that story every night and bring it to life. And as much as the show goes as it goes, like the dialogue is what it is, and there's all these things. There are many variables, and the show really is never the same twice, and that's
Mhm.
kind of a really cool thing that, um, even though you're playing the same thing every night, there's maybe a different set of challenges. Maybe an actor is late on a cue that's supposed to bring you out of a vamp, and then it's a scramble and it's stressful, or maybe like everybody doesn't nail it, or and you have to sort of like find your way into the right spot, or there are challenges there that the audience doesn't know about, and because people automatically think, oh my gosh, you're playing the same thing 8 times a week, boring, and for me it's not. It's really not. It's always challenging, it's always rewarding, it's always fun, and, if anybody who does theater doesn't really appreciate it after the last 14 months, then there's no hope for that person because being out of work for as long as we've been out of work, I mean, if that doesn't really make you appreciate what you have, whether it's that or anything in life, I think what we've all gone through over the last year plus, I think hopefully, we've at least taken that away. That
What are some things you've learned even about yourself during this time? It's been an extraordinary time.
It has been. I have learned that, not that I didn't already know this, but that I really love my job, and I'm really, really extremely grateful for having the opportunity to do that. I also, just putting the career part out there, I'm proud of myself for being able to, even though it was scary for me, to be able to be a little resilient and resourceful and be able to do the clinics that I did and to do the work that I've done from home because technology is out of my comfort zone. So I learned that, if my back's against the wall and I'm forced to do something, I can figure out a way to do that. Now, of course, that was also not me functioning alone. My wonderful wife was very much my support through all of this. And, she's amazing and never doubted me for a second, of course, but, I of course did, but, we figured it out and got it sorted out, and here I am, I was able to do that.
I
Um,
asked you prior when we were chatting before we went live on the air, did you clean any closets? You said, "Jim, we didn't clean the closets. We renovated the whole place."
we did. We'd been talking about it before, like, long before COVID even entered the vernacular, and that was something that we wanted to do down here, and we started having, very brief preliminary conversations about, well, how would that look with us living up in North Jersey and me working a show. And she's been a remote worker for long before COVID. She's been a remote worker for about 5 years. So she can be here, she could be there, she could be anywhere. It doesn't matter. So she, we were thinking, well, maybe she can come down and be here and manage the workers and figure it. We'll figure it out. And then when this happened, we'd started getting preliminary estimates and talking about this, that, and the other thing, and we pulled it together and we made it happen. And it was really stressful. And we're both asthmatic and sort of higher risk in that way with COVID. And it was scary for us. We didn't like people coming in and out of the house. We had all the windows open. We ran around here like a SWAT team with Lysol and wipes like crazy people and masks. And, but that was for our comfort level. And we wanted to make sure that we were safe, and we managed it, and we made it happen. And we did a full renovation here. And now that's done, we don't have that on our plate anymore. And we got to enjoy the house during the shutdown. We were here. And I also, yeah, you're right, cousin. It did bring many silver linings. It as much as, again, sort of counterintuitive to what I said about my career and how much I love to work, I also love being home. I feel lucky to have had all this time with my wife, and to have gotten on a schedule. And we got diligent with our eating habits, and we got healthy, and we lost weight, and we did all these wonderful, productive things. So we made good use of the time. I've been working on other shows. I've been doing what I can do around clinics and lessons and virtual, remote sessions and all this other stuff. And you just learn how to enjoy life. Life is bigger than your job, no matter how wonderful your job is. You have to learn how to enjoy it as a package, and not be all about one thing. You need to coexist together in all of that.
All of it.
So,
Right. Exactly. And Tess says, you look amazing, but they're still eating down in Florida.
Keep eating.
Well, you know what they said, or what they failed to say, which I tell everybody, is we were supposed to be 6 feet apart from each other, but 10 feet away from our refrigerators.
That's right.
They didn't mention that. But there's been a lot of teachable moments, a lot of life lessons, and it sounds like it just re-enhanced and reconfirmed a lot of things about life for you in a beautiful way, including your love of the art of what you do, the art and science of what you do, and do so well, Dina. And that's a beautiful thing. And we realize life is short, life is precious, life is important. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's invited to the table. I say that with this show too, and even my other professional work. Everybody's welcome. Doesn't matter your zip code, your income, height, weight, political views, religious views, whatever. Just come to the party. Let's talk. Let's have a good time, and let's all be unified and be together. And that's an important thing, because again, the earth prefers to spin when it's balanced.
Yeah.
Prefers to spin that way.
Yep.
Spinning, you have another tune for us, don't you? Like that segue?
That was very well done.
That's a Jim Masters segue.
I have another. I have one more from Little Shop that I can play. For those of you at home who may be sick of Little Shop songs right now, look, I have a slight agenda. I want to promote the show.
She does do other things, folks. Yes, she does.
I do, but there are copyright licensing issues and things of that nature. And I have permission from the show to be doing this. So I just stuck with the one show, instead of trying to track down all kinds of people from all ends of the earth to get permission to do this. I just, here we are. So, I hope, you'll indulge me for one more from the show. This is the finale. This is the end of the show. So we've kind of covered beginning, middle, and end. You have to come to figure the rest out. You have to actually see the show.
I was going to ask you your favorite color, favorite ice cream, and what kind of pizza you like.
Okay. We can talk food. I mean, I'm good with that too. But all right.
All right.
I'll be right back.
You got it. Hope guys are enjoying. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Jim Masters Show live worldwide. Dina Toriello is my special guest, amazing award-winning pop rock Broadway drummer, author, educator, and so much more. And a great sense of humor as well. And thank you for those words, Tess. Just love you, Jim. You are the most amazing human being. Your heart is so pure. I got to figure out how you print these out. I want to print that out. Sandra says, love all the love here tonight. Sandra, if this is your first time, this is what our show is like 7 days a week, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Good times and great conversations and entertainment. Dina, take it away.
To the events you have just witnessed, similar events in cities across America, events with boys striking resemblance to the ones you have just seen begin occurring. Subsequent to the events you have just witnessed, unsuspecting drugs from Maine to California made the acquaintance of a new breed of flytrap and got sweet talked into feeding it blood. That's the best one that terrible will, finding drugs who would feed them their fill, and the plants proceeded to grow and grow and began what they came here to do, which was essentially to East Cleveland and Des Moines and Peoria and New York and Indiana. They offer you poison and pain, love and money and instant afraid. But whatever they offer you, don't be afraid. They may offer you lots of cheap thrills, fancy condos in Beverly Hills. But whatever they offer you, don't be afraid. Here comes
You're the best. You've done this a few times, huh?
Well, I have, but I realized that as I was finishing that number, I probably should have had my charts in front of me because I haven't played it in so long. I had a little bit of a glazed over. Wait, how does this go again?
Yeah, but
I mean, muscle memory held for quite a while, but I could use a little, I need a little refresher on some of this.
Speaking of muscle memory, Maria H says savage, so you got it. Juanita in South Africa says whoop whoop, great
Animals.
playing. So yeah, the glazed might have helped. Wonderful from Mary in Florida, and that's cool, Dina from Merlin in Canada, Jane in Sweden's. That is fantastic. Carla in Brazil, loved it. Love listening to you play. Terrific. Kathleen Walker. Very cool song. Austin Field loves it as well. And Tesla Bella says, haha, animals. I was speaking of muscle memory.
Mhm.
What is preparation like? I would imagine, when you're playing for hours, whether in the band setting, solo, in a production, Broadway production, whatever it may be, freelance things that you may do. What is the physical? Not only do you have to get the charts ready and know the music, but just some of the routine and the physical preparation you have to do, because there's so much, not only mental prowess and all the emotion you're putting into it, but there's a tremendous amount of physicality that's going into what you do. I remember when I was a kid and watching drummers when we were in plays, and the drummer would always be the one that's just really sweating and going at it, and just totally in a zone. What is the preparation for you, and how do you keep yourself conditioned and so you're raring to go, especially when it comes to Broadway shows where they can go for a length of time, 7, 8 nights a week, whatever it may be?
Yeah, it really depends on the show, I think. When I did Head Over Heels, it was challenging because it was a rock show. Okay, no, not that in and of itself isn't, a huge deal because I've been playing rock forever. But when we first did the show in San Francisco, we had a different sound engineer out in front of house. And I remember Jane Wheatland being from the Go-Go's being at one of the shows because she lived in the area. And she came up to me after the show. She's like, "We need more drums. We need more drums." So it kind of got in my head that was on me, and it really shouldn't have been on me. It should have been on the sound. And we ended up getting everything sorted out, in New York. But I had just sort of taken that on myself and really dug in and played really hard for like the whole show. I mean, I still played with dynamics, where it needed to be, but when it was rocking, I was really digging in, and the tempos were really fast. And, that made it a very challenging show. There were moments where I'd be like, breathing heavy, kind of like
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
hard and playing fast, compounded by, towards the end of Act 2, I had to literally run up 2 flights of stairs to join the rest of the band on stage for a reveal at the end of the show when they lifted a scrim and then there was the band.
yeah,
So like I'm literally like running and playing. It was like insane. And I had an injury to my hip flexor, my kick drum leg, because everything was so fast and loud. I had sort of strained my kick drum leg, and I had to just like plow through it. So I was playing injured for the entirety of the run, basically. So that show, I had to sort of do the opposite of what a lot of drummers do, and I basically got really dormant during the day.
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
stopped going to the gym. I'd stopped,
right.
and I gained weight and, all that good stuff that came along with it. But it was really a necessary evil for me to survive the run of the show and what was going on with me. Now that, I got wind of Little Shop reopening and everything opening up again, I have started to go back to, lifting weights a little bit and doing some running and getting myself, in better condition for that. You need a certain level of physical, it's physical. There's no way around it. What we're doing is there's a lot of physicality to this. So I think you have to strike a balance between being limber, making sure that you're stretching. So I'll do that before the show. And I just really do a pad warm up. I'll put a pad on my snare drum. I keep one at the theater, and I just sit and I just work my hands and make sure that I loosen everything up so that I'm not tight, in here, and not straining anything in here in my wrists. And I really just sort of, work on that for a few minutes. And that's, I get limber, and then I feel ready to go, get a cup of coffee and some water, and like, I'm good, ready to hit it. So
Yeah. Do you remember the longest time length where you had to play for like hours and hours? Does anything ever stand out for you where it was just that show, that production, that event, that gig, whatever it is? It was just a marathon of playing.
not consistently, for Broadway, when you're in a rehearsal room, you rehearse 6 days a week,
Yeah.
and you're in there from 10 to 6, I think, typically. So you're in a room for, it's like a desk job, but you're behind your drums. And you may go an hour and not play a note, and then you may run the same 4-bar or 8-bar section for an hour because you need to work on choreography or whatever the case may be. And, or, like in the case when we came back from San Francisco and we were getting ready to go to Broadway with Head Over Heels, after the San Francisco run, they took time to rewrite the show and edit certain things and make changes. And so you're working that out in the rehearsal room, and the choreographer was trying to figure out this ending and this thing, and we're creating on the fly, and he was doing it with me, and try this and play faster, and like just do a big blah blah blah, and you're just doing doing whatever. So you have those spurts where it's like super intense and maybe a long time, but then you have a break. So I think for me, as a rule, the challenge with Broadway is more mental and emotional than it is physical. I don't think you're ever asked to play for inordinate stretches of time, but you have to be present and you have to be prepared and you have to be ready on any, like I said, you could not be doing anything for 45 minutes or an hour. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, ready with drums, bar 53, go. And you have to, you have to know where you are. Otherwise you're like, wait, what? And then they don't like you because you're not paying attention and you're slowing down the process and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the deal.
Amy asks, and this might be, you may have a favorite, but it might be a tough one only because you've played so much music, so many different kinds of music over the years. Do you have a favorite song to play? If God came out of the sky and said, I'm only going to let you play one more song, what would the song be?
That's a really hard question. That's a really, really hard question. I'm gonna say one of my favorites because I heard it the other day. We had some station on, a shuffle on, I don't know if it was Pandora or whatever. And Foo Fighters Everlong came on and I was like, oh man, this is such a fun song to play. I love playing that one. So that's one, but there are some police songs. I love Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas. I love Message of Love by the Pretenders. I mean, there's just, and those are just groove songs, like Message of Love is just, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to pick one, really, truly.
Do you find yourself sometimes listening to music and drumming along with other songs?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. My fingers rarely stop. Sometimes this happens when you're working on a show or when I've been doing the recording project from home. I've been, he sends me files and I have to listen to the song and try to figure out like what I'm going to play. And then by the time you sit down and you work it out, I do a few passes and just messing around with stuff. And by the time you're done, you've listened to the song probably 12 times consecutively. Yeah. And then I go to bed and it's like in my head. And then I like all night long, it's in my head and I'm like tapping, I'm watching TV and I'm tapping to the song because it's still in my head,
So it's like, it's
earworm and my fingers, and I'm just tapping all the time. Yeah. My foot's moving, my hands are moving. And like, I don't even realize it. I'm fully engrossed in a TV show and yet my hands and my fingers are moving.
Kathleen Walker in New York City actually has a really cool question here live on our show. She says, is there any place that you'd like to play, like a dream place you haven't played yet, like this ultimate venue, or anyone that you'd like to play drums for or with?
Great questions. The Garden, Madison Square Garden, is my number one. When we got to open for the Rolling Stones, unfortunately, they were 2 shows in Chicago and 1 in Baltimore. And I was like, oh, why couldn't it be the Garden? I want to play the Garden. That was my one. But
still, if we pause and rewind, when we opened for the Rolling Stones, did anybody get that? The Garden's good, but we opened for the Rolling Stones. Okay, continue.
Thank you.
I digress.
The Garden would have been just the extra cherry on top of that situation. But, and as far as artists I would love to play for, I'm a huge Mary Chapin Carpenter fan, and I've always wanted to play in her band because she is, for me, the quintessential songwriter. Her lyrics are so exquisite. Her melodies and her music is so beautiful. And to serve those songs, to have the opportunity to serve those songs would be such an honor and a blessing, and would be so much fun because she's just a tremendous songwriter. I mean, truly for me, it's like Lennon and McCartney and it's Mary Chapin Carpenter, like my favorite songwriters. So that would be amazing. I would love that. I would love that job one day.
Hey, never say never. Never say never. What would you say to somebody watching, whether they're watching live or maybe later, on demand on our YouTube channel, Gym Masters TV, who is the teenage Dina, who's looking at you right now saying, my God, wow, this is cool. Look at all the things she got a chance to do and she's doing, and she never gave up, and she's persistent and she's resilient, and no day is perfect. There's the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly. Life is life. But here she is still plugging away, and she's teaching others, and she loves it, and she still loves it and loves it. And they're watching and they're saying, well, how do I do this? What steps are there to take? What advice could you give me so I don't give in and I don't give up?
Well, I will often say this. If there were a blueprint for how to do this and to get to a certain place, everybody would be able to do it. If there were a roadmap, right? There obviously is no one way to say, hey, this is what you need to do if you want to get to C, you need to do A and B. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
You have to be resilient. You have to be relentless. You have to be passionate. You have to be dedicated, and you have to have a tremendous amount of hope and belief in yourself. And if you lose any one of those things, it's very easy to say, well, I guess this just wasn't meant to be, and to walk away from it. But if you persevere and you just keep doing it, it, not that it always will come around, but you have the chance for that to happen. And if you're, it's like playing the lottery. You got to be in it to win it,
Right, exactly.
And if you step away and you sort of say, I'm out, then you're out. You've taken yourself out of the equation. So you have to stay in it. You're going to think I'm the biggest loser, and I can't believe this is happening, but my Mac is about to die. So may I just step away for 1 second and grab my charger on the other side of the room?
Absolutely. It happens to
I had it charged all day.
It happens to all guests. We expect that. They
Okay,
want to see
great.
the chair you're sitting in. They love to see the guests' chairs.
I'm glad I'm not disappointing. Okay, Stan, I'll be right back. Don't go away.
We'll be back. And now you get to see the chair. Let's see. Can we see it? That's a nice setup, isn't it, gang? Look at the setup. Really cool. Hope you guys are enjoying, and really, really good. I'm just taking a look at some of these comments coming in here. Really, really a good night of music here tonight, huh? No, you're not seeing the chair, Juanita. You just see the mic, but you see all the other cool things. I think there's a chair way in the back there, like a little stool. Isn't it a great setup? Yeah, take a look. Absolutely, absolutely. You have to have the gift first. You guys are great.
Crisis averted.
That's it. We didn't see the chair, but what kind of chair? I guess you're sitting in one of those little round.
A standard drum throne. Yes, nothing fancy. Just a little round vinyl seat. Hard as a rock.
Not all thrones are created equal.
Definitely not. My nice, soft, cushy one is still at the West Side Theater for the last 14 months, just sitting there collecting dust.
Just collecting dust and waiting for you.
Yes, waiting for my return. Actually, I did go in to gather my cymbals. We can't take our gear out because everything's mic'd, and, it's like a whole, you need union people to, touch your gear, and it's like this whole thing. So my drums are still there. I removed my cymbals. And I brought a giant sheet, and I tucked the throne in, and I just covered everything with a sheet. So that was as good as I could do. My cymbals came home with me, and the sheet is left to hold down the fort there with all the gear.
Sandra said fit for a queen.
Yes.
And Kathleen says she hopes you get a chance to play the garden because you're very, very talented.
Thank you, Kathleen.
And Mona says, yes, great setup of drums.
Thank you.
Absolutely. What are some of those things that continue to bring you great joy and blessing and your life to inspire you to want to continue creating for all of us the way you've done so long? It's amazing stuff you do, Dina.
Thank you.
Super talent. And, I know you've heard this probably a million times, but you're a great, you're a great mentor, but a great source of inspiration as well for other women who are watching, who might also be saying, you know what? Boy, I've always wanted to do this, but I always felt like I couldn't, or they wouldn't let me, or it's just, you're not supposed to, or any of that stuff. And here she is, and she just blew through it all and continues to. So you're a fantastic mentor and source of inspiration for everybody,
Thank you.
musicians and all, but also for the women out there who are watching, and the young girls who are watching, who say, wow, I would love to do that too. Because I know it didn't come easy, doesn't come easy. Uh,
Well, I mean, if I'm being
they're doing it.
honest, yeah, you have to love what you do, and that makes it makes it all manageable. And,
Right.
this is, for me, it's always a fine line talking about the gender thing. It's a difficult conversation because on one hand, I don't want it to sound like, oh, woe is me. And, it was so difficult and, blah, 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 all that stuff. But the reality is the music world is a man's world. It just is. It's dominated by men. Broadway is not really that different. It's changing. The game is changing. Things are changing, things are shifting. There is more awareness, particularly in the Broadway community. They are doing a lot to be more mindful of being inclusive and, bringing more people into the fold and, all of that stuff. But I read, just to give you an example, the Maestro organization, which I referenced earlier, posted something on one of their socials about how, I think it was from the years 2008 to 2018. So in a 10-year period, there were 98 drum chairs. So a chair is like when you get the gig, it's your position, so to speak, and you have subs that can cover for you, but it's your job, and once you get through the first few days of rehearsals, assuming all goes well, like you can't be fired. It's sort of like a teacher having tenure. Like once you're in, and it's your job. As long as you work 50%, 50% of the gigs of the shows in a quarter, you maintain the chair. So in that 10-year period, there were 98 drum chairs available. I'm not talking about percussion. I'm talking about drum set.
Yeah.
2 of them were occupied by women. 2.
Mm.
Me and another woman, Rosa Avila, who was at the Donna Summer musical. That was it. So, and then in 2019, I had the Kristen Chenoweth show. So that would be a third. If you want to extend it another year, I guess that would be 3 and 11 years. But the numbers are not great for us. There just aren't a lot of us out there. Split screen, not a lot, hasn't been maybe an abundance of opportunity. I also would share this story when I would do my clinics. When Antigone Rising had released their album, the label album with Starbucks in 2005, we were making the rounds. Our label was making rounds to the radio stations and pitching our lead single from that album called Don't Look Back, which was co-written with Rob Thomas. And we're going to the labels with this song, trying to get it played on popular, top 40 radio, whatever. And this is 2005. This is not 1955. This is 2005. The record labels were literally saying to us, well, Sheryl Crow has a new single coming out that week. Gwen Stefani has a new single coming out that week. And Antigone Rising has a new single coming out that week. And we can only pick 2.
Mm.
Like, I'm sorry, there's a quota on gender. Like, what the hell,
Right.
So, those are just examples of some of the things that we face, some of the challenges we faced. And there are, I could give many more examples. They're not important, just to make the point that it can be challenging. And you have to figure out a way to navigate those challenges and to be strategic and to, do your best to be aware of what they are and know how to circumvent them. That's just the bottom line. And you would have to do that anywhere with anything. It's no different than, I don't know, there are plenty of challenges out there for everybody in different ways, and we figure out how to maneuver them, right? So it's like that. But that being said, if you're passionate about it and you love it and you want to do it, it's worth it. It's worth the time that you're going to spend to figure it out. It's worth whatever effort it requires for you to persevere, because it's ultimately what you love. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I can't imagine my life looking any different. I can't imagine not doing this. For me, there's no other option. It's just not
It's in the
even up for
DNA.
discussion, and I had a day job years ago. I had a corporate job and I was part-timing it with music and thought, well, this will be good. This is the safe way. This is the responsible way. I can pay my bills. I can plan. I have this much money coming in. I can take time off to go do some gigs here and there and whatever. And then Antigone Rising was just getting busy, and the band's mantra was sort of like, leap and the net will appear. And that's it. We're doing this. And we bought a van and we started traveling and touring, and there was no choice at that point. It was like day job or my dream. It was kind of like, well, I can always get another day job. I don't know that I'll find another band who's as great as this and who has this much potential. And within 3 years we had a record deal because we toured and we worked like crazy people. So it definitely paid off.
But then everybody had lives and different things happening that they had to tend to. Is that
years down the road, we had some member changes and a lineup change, and then once we sort of the dust settled and we sort of reconvened with the new lineup, which is the pictures that you're showing now. That was sort of the most recent lineup. Two of those 4 girls were having babies and working, being at home and taking care of kids, and we made it work as best we could in that environment. And, that led me to being more proactive in terms of finding other work. And that kind of led me sort of to where I am now. It sort of snowballs, when you start down the rabbit hole and you're networking and you're putting it out there and you're putting feelers out and you're talking to people and you're expressing interest and you go to open jams and you meet other musicians and, whatever it takes. But those are the things that are required of you to move yourself forward in the industry. You can't sit at home and think your phone's going to ring. You have to be proactive and you have to be networking and making good choices and good connections and, with people who are doing what you want to do. And that's the bottom line. It's like you find people, which is kind of like what I tried to do, find people who are doing what you want to do and figure out what it takes to do that and figure out what it takes to get there. Because they're the ones doing it. So go to them and, kind of figure it out.
That's right. The ones
which brings me back to the coaching thing that I'm doing. It's like
full circle.
Come talk to me. I can help talk to you about how to get there.
Are there other things on that bucket list, as they call it, things that you still want to do, places to go, things to create on the Dina list of things to do as you go along on your life's journey?
Musically speaking, yes, I would still love to tour. I would still love to do a tour with a national artist. I love touring. I loved being in a touring band. There was a very, it was equal parts challenging and rewarding for me. I loved the randomness of going into a town or a city and having these brushes with random people or these chance encounters with people who were just, there to see your show and sort of wondering what their life is like and why they live where they live and what's going on in that town. And, having like a little snapshot of that town or city. I just find it really interesting. So that is something that I would very much love to do again. I don't know. Doing work as a cultural ambassador in other countries was super rewarding and one of the highlights of my career. So I would welcome that opportunity if it ever came around again.
Yeah.
And just to continue what I do. I mean, continuing to work on new shows and work on readings and being in on the ground level of developing new shows is super exciting for me. Personally speaking, I want to be able to take time. And that's the nice thing about a show. You have subs, you can sub out, you can step away for a week or two or however long, and the show's still there for you when you come back. So I would like to travel and do things. My wife and I didn't get to go on our honeymoon because of COVID. We were scheduled to go to Spain last May. We didn't get to do that.
When were you married?
We were married. It'll be 2 years September 21st, the day that we go back to Little Shop. So that'll be our 2-year anniversary.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And you're planning to go away?
Not quite yet. She just started a new job, and I'm going to be getting settled back in at the show. So we will make plans to do something soon-ish. And, we're both vaccinated, so we feel relatively okay about venturing out into the world.
Yep.
Baby steps, putting our toe in the water here and there and reacclimating to
being
around
that's
people.
a cool thing. That's what a lot of people have been telling me. As Patrick McEnroe, who was a guest on our show, said, he's vaxxed and relaxed. So I said, I'm going to steal that. So we're double vaxxed and we're relaxed as well.
Nice.
But a lot of people are sort of, I had somebody, I was at a dentist appointment the other day, whatever. And one of the assistants was saying, Jim, when she took her mask off, it felt strange to actually have her mask off. It was as if she was exposed, or not necessarily to the COVID, just it was a totally different experience, and that she has to sort of slowly dip in and slowly sort of get, acclimated again to people and places, and instead of that routine of being home or going straight there and then coming right back. Yeah. And that there really is an adjustment period. I don't think a lot of people are just charging right out. I think they're slowly putting their feet in the water. You're doing that too?
That's sort of how I feel. I know, for me, when I talk to people about this, I'm sure people think I'm a little bit of a lunatic about it, but for me, it was never like I thought, oh my God, I'm going to get COVID and die. Like, I didn't go there in my brain. I went to, okay, I'm an asthmatic. I've had experiences where I've had really severe difficulty breathing, where I've had to go to the hospital and get nebulizer treatments and get cortisone injections, and I couldn't breathe kind of thing. And it's not a good feeling. So I imagine that 20 times worse with COVID and a ventilator. And I'm good. I want no part of it. Like, even the slightest chance of that happening to me in my lungs, or me infecting my wife and having her have that experience, I didn't want to risk that for anything. It wasn't worth it to me.
No
I'll stay home. I'll deal with my renovation. I'll be a hermit. I don't care. It wasn't worth it. And I was very diligent with mask wearing and hand washing and sanitizing and scrubbing and spraying and doing all the things, Silkwood showers, like whatever. In the beginning, you rip your clothes off and you're like, I had a shower. I was in the grocery store, before we knew what we know now,
400 rolls of toilet paper, just in case.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm still plowing through half of the supply, but to minimize the trips to the store and minimize the exposure. And I was that person, and I am slowly, I'm reacclimating. My life it feels weird now to not necessarily have to wear a mask. And I still, if I'm in close quarters, I'll still wear one. And even though I'm vaccinated, I don't know, it's weird. Yeah. I know I'll eventually get to the point where it's it's cool. I'm okay. And, it's all good. We're all good. We're fine. Move along, but I'm just not quite there yet in my head, but I'll get there.
Right. And
it's a journey.
It's a journey. Exactly. Like everything you've done is a journey, and you've done it with style and finesse, and have enjoyed the ride. And that's the key, right? Is enjoying the ride and being flexible and adaptable, because life, as we've learned this year, can throw anything at us.
Absolutely. And you really have to savor each moment, savor each victory. Don't dwell too long or too hard on any of the losses along the way, or the learning opportunities, that we have. I don't call them failures, but learning opportunities,
teachable moments.
Yeah, teachable moments. No one's perfect. We all have them. We all go through them. That's part of life. And the ability to take the lesson and recognize the lesson and dust yourself off and move on is as good as we can do for ourselves. And that's when the growth happens. And that's when we, can kind of get to the next level mentally. And I think there was a lot of that opportunity, I think, in the last 14 months for me. You had asked that question a while ago, but that was one of the things that I learned, was to really appreciate what we have a little bit more, and not be so caught up in the, well, what if, or the, you get into those little bit of slips mentally where you can kind of go, not like super negative, but just
Right.
doubt, you know, where
Yeah.
you're like, oh, what, you know, it's like, who cares? Just here's where we are now. Let's just like buckle up and let's make it work, you know, and let's move
Exactly.
on. So
Right.
that's the best we can do.
Exactly right. Good advice. You're definitely, you know what you are? You're a lovity.
Dare I ask? Oh, okay,
You
good.
are yeah, dare I ask? I could have
I
gone
don't know,
anywhere.
Jim. What am
You
I?
are
I know you are, but what am I?
you are man, are you a lovity to the max? Absolutely. I mean, they already said it. And Emily Rose, good to see you, Emily. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the notification bell because we do this 7 days a week, over 400 episodes. And somebody said to me, Jim, there's only 365 days in a year. How'd you do 400 episodes in 365 days? Well, we have our ways. Like you say, I agree with you so much on all these points. You have to really love it. All these fields and these endeavors are so demanding, and there's so much of yourself. You're putting yourself out there, and you really have to really love it, be passionate about it, because it could eat you up. So you really have to love it and fine tune it and jockey and pivot and always be creative and love the ride as you're sharing it with the world. Emily says, this show has made my whole week. That's beautiful to say. Sandra says,
Thanks, Emily.
she's the real deal. You're the real deal. Emily hopes you guys get to have that wonderful honeymoon, the trip together.
Thank you.
Tess says, another amazing conversation by the master of our Mr. Levity. Does his magic again. Dina, I love listening, and I'm so glad you played. It was such a thrill for me.
Thanks,
Thank
cousin.
you. Fabulous Tess. And you're the best. Juanita says, this was a fantastic episode. Thank you, Dina, for sharing your music with us. You're definitely an inspiration. LOL. Dina Levity. We love our Jim. Thank you, Amy. And Mary Bishop in Florida. Thank you, Dina. It was wonderful to hear you play. I agree.
Thank you.
This was awesome. I don't know if you have anything left in that bottle of water. I have my New York Mets glass that Kathleen Walker and one of our lovelies in New York City sent me on my birthday in September, the wine goblet. And there's no ginger ale in it. But cheers, my friend. Cheers. I hope we get a chance to meet, break bread in the city, maybe at one of the performances or after. It would be a thrill. And Kathleen, who sent that Mets goblet, says, thank you for sharing your music and talent with us. It was wonderful. And she's in New York City. Sherry Larson is wonderful. Dina is fantastic. Thank you. And
Thank
Kathy
you. Short,
one of our great levities in Cleveland, Ohio. Love the music. Thanks so much for sharing your time with us. Crystal Nolan in Connecticut. Crystal and I met. She's watched me for years on public television, and I was emceeing a concert for the band Chicago, and she was at the concert and came right up to me and introduced herself. She's a sweetheart, she and her husband. She's in Connecticut. Thank you for a fantastic show. You're truly an inspiration, Dina. Keep spreading the awesome music. God bless you. Sue Penza says, go see the play. Absolutely. Thank you, Dina. Please do come back to our show. And that's one thing. We will definitely keep the porch light on for you. I hope the show, Dina, met whatever expectations you had, and that you definitely enjoyed the time with me as much as I certainly have with you.
I did. Thank you. It was wonderful. I had a great time and would love to come back and visit again.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Thanks for all the time. Thanks for playing, and great conversation. And I wish you nothing but continued success and good health. And let's stay in touch, beyond this live show. And hopefully we'll see you maybe over the summertime or in the fall or what have you in the big city, or
sounds good.
Long Beach Island, whatever it is, beautiful Long Beach Island. Tess, of course, says, I love you, Dina. And
love you too, cousin.
And you're an amazing host, Jim. Thank you very much, Sandra Ferrero. Again, how do we print these out? Is there a way to print? Can we print that out? And
she's a little biased. That's my wife.
Oh, well, of course. Well, yeah, good taste. You both have good taste. Thumbs up. She's a lovity now. This
is
what, you know what this you call this? This is double lovity.
Double lovity. I like it. It's
good. Jane in Sweden says, I can't forget about that little girl in Israel Dina talked about earlier. Have you been there again after the tour?
Good question. that was one of our, that was one of the things I did through the State Department. We were cultural ambassadors, and we went through the U.S. government, and it was, man, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. We did 4 days in Israel, and we did 3.5 days in the West Bank in Palestine. And to have the experience to be in both lands and to talk to the people, and to reach out, to do outreach and play for them and talk to them and share cultures with them, and just, all of that went along with it was such really an amazing experience. And unfortunately, no, I have not been able to go back to that hospital, but I have all that stuff. They took a few pictures and they printed it out, and I framed it, and it's on my wall. So maybe someday.
One of the blessings and beauties of the
Truly.
work that you do.
Truly. Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes, and I'm sure after shows and things of that nature, you get people that come up to you and, I love your work and you're amazing, you're talented, and you inspire me. That's the icing on the cake to this kind of work that we are blessed to do. And that is something we are blessed to do, work that not only is work that we love doing and that we've worked hard at and we fine-tuned and got educated and skilled at and put the time in, but work that really reflects the essence of who we are as people, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I never thought, getting into music and wanting to be a musician, that the road would lead me to those places, that I would be a cultural ambassador in Israel and Palestine and Vietnam. And, it's just like, who would have thought that? I never, in my wildest dreams, I mean, the garden, yeah, sure. But that stuff, I never even imagined that.
Never thought
And
it.
when that call came in, of course, I joked to my bandmates. I said, "You guys are really trying to kill me, because I don't like to fly." And I'm like, "You're going to put me on a plane for 11 hours to Israel? Seriously? And then, 18 hours to Vietnam? Thanks."
Thanks.
But,
love you.
but, here again, it's the blessing of our work. I never, and this is no disrespect to the people of these lands or the land, the countries themselves, but because of my not so much of a love of flying, I never would have said, "Oh, I want to go to Israel. Let's go to Israel," or "Oh, let's go to Vietnam." I never would have gotten on a plane to do that,
Right.
because I had to, because we were doing it. I was like, okay, I guess I have to. And I did it. And it ended up being one of the great treasures of my life, truly. So what a blessing.
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. Well, thanks again for spending so much time. Would you believe we chatted for 2 hours? It doesn't feel like it. It just slides by in a New York minute, everybody says. Just conversation, freestyle, and really, really fantastic. Thanks again for being with us, my friend. I wish you all the best. And
Thanks, Jim. You too.
There was somebody that was joining us quietly here. He's sort of my sidekick. He's with me every night. Mr. George Burns was in the house, and he sends his lovity with a cigar and all.
Very nice.
If that doesn't make you laugh, I don't know what
awesome.
does. There he is, and he enjoyed himself.
That's great.
You won't believe this. In my professional world, I have two guests with Close-Up Television Radio that I have to interview in the daytime, because I have the work in television and radio in the day, and then I do this in the evening. And the first guest, I think around noon, the last name is Burns. The second guest at 1:00 is Allen. So
No
tomorrow
way.
I'm going to be interviewing Burns and Allen.
Wow, that's quite a trick.
What is the chance of that? And wait till I tell them.
That's great.
Christine Clifton in North Carolina. Dina, thanks for sharing so much of your stories and passions, and really enjoyed your playing the drum set. Such talent. Loved hearing about the career, the difference you've made. You are a true lovity, from Christine in North Carolina.
Thanks, Christine.
Sherry Larson. Thank you, Jim and Dina. You are welcome. Sue Penza, no relation to Ralph. Good night, Gracie and Sandra. God bless you, Jim. Love to all. Right back at you as well. Thanks for being with us, my friend. As I say to all the guests again, go stretch those legs.
That's right.
That's it. And Thanks for all the time, all of your amazing talent, and you were fantastic tonight. Really, I appreciate
Thank
it very
you.
much.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
You take care and keep doing what you're doing, my friend.
I will do.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The one and only Dina Toriello. Is she not amazing? Maybe you've seen her in some of the productions over the years, and now you got a chance to learn a little bit more about the person, not just the talent, not just the persona, not just that brilliant drummer, but the person. And I think that's what's cool about our show. We spend some time conversating, and it's freestyle. We don't do scripts. We don't do questions in advance. Sometimes you do that in my professional career in TV and radio, but on this show, we just like to have fun, and we always learn something. I mean, sometimes we go deep. Sometimes we let it ride wherever it heads. You know what I mean? And I think that's fantastic. And she graced us with her talent, playing a couple of really cool songs, and we talked about the various essences of her career and her passions, and some offerings of suggestion for those who want to pursue their dreams and pursue things that they want to do as well. And I think it was awesome. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. That's the channel you're watching right now. Click the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We do this series 7 days a week. That's right, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Sometimes we do 2 shows a day on the weekends because we have international guests as well who come on the show. And we've done over 400 plus episodes in the last year, which is amazing. Guests from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, culinary arts, sports, comedy, inspiration, and lots more. Really, really cool stuff. We thank Dina again for joining us. She's absolutely amazing. And she's a straight shooter too. And I love her dry wit. That's some of my favorite. I love, the conversation with her was almost like an episode of Match Game with Gene Rayburn. I love just the back and forth. It was like a good tennis match with the satirical conversation. It's just awesome. She's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. And now the next time you see her, doing her thing on stage, you'll have even a deeper appreciation of not just the talent, but the person that makes up the talent. Speaking of talent, John Davidson, the one and only, remember the television show host, game show host? That's incredible. Hollywood Squares, the John Davidson Show, movies. He actually has, speaking of New Hampshire, he has a new music venue in New Hampshire called Club Sandwich. Really cool name because it's in Sandwich, New Hampshire. Can't wait to take a run up there this summer to see him. John Davidson's here next Sunday on the Jim Masters Show Live. And you know who also is going to be here this Saturday? My buddy, Rob Evan. Rob Evan starred in a multitude as the lead in many, many Broadway productions. He was in many Broadway productions. He also co-created Rocktopia, which was on Broadway, and so much more. He's going to be joining us coming up this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, and we're really excited about that. Matter of fact, he's super excited about it as well, and he's actually telling everybody all over the world about his appearance, and we love that.
Hey guys, it's your old friend Rob Evan. Hoping you'll join me this Saturday, June 5th at 7 p.m. when I'll be live on the Jim Masters Show, talking all things Broadway, Rocktopia, the music industry. I'll be teasing some projects that I've got in development, and then also just shedding some light on this crazy year and a half that we've all had. Wow. I hope you'll join us. The information should be in the copy below. Come by, maybe sing a song or two. All right? Hope to see you there.
And he'll be joining us again this Saturday on the Jim Masters Show Live, and that's going to be absolutely fantastic. Yes. So we've got a bevy of amazing guests coming up all week long. You know who else is going to be here? Legendary pianist Dino. Yes, Dino is going to be with us coming up on Thursday. Amazing musician, performer, and production manager Lance McVicker is with us tomorrow. We have legendary film, television, and stage actor Bob Ader is going to be with us on Friday. That's going to be amazing. And then again, Rob Evan on Saturday night, and John Davidson is going to be with us on Sunday. And that is just the short list, folks. We are booked all the way almost to the end of July. I think I mentioned that Marion Ross from Happy Days, Mrs. Cunningham, is coming on the show. And Eileen Graff is coming on the show. She starred as the mom on Mr. Belvedere on ABC, and so much more. Kathleen Walker says, Rob is awesome. So glad I was able to take a picture with him. So cool. That's right. I invited you to see. Rob had called me and said, hey, bring some friends to see Rocktopia on Broadway. And our dear friend Mairead Nesbitt, who you know originally from Celtic Woman, who was in Rocktopia, she was performing, and you got a chance to come along and see us. Yeah, that was cool. Remember, Kathleen, when we were on the Rachel Ray show too? That was cool. We got to do that stuff again. Jane says, Dina, truly doing great work with music. Everything else she can do, you got it. Absolutely, Jane in beautiful Sweden. And Carla says, first day of June, and the schedule of your shows is amazing. Thanks for this episode, Jim. See you next episode. Thank you very much, Carla, in beautiful South America and Brazil. Kathleen says, great show. Really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that as well. And, it's still hanging out. You remember our anniversary celebration when we had our big anniversary show 2 weeks ago? If you didn't see our anniversary episode celebrating over 400 episodes and 1 year of the Jim Master Show Live, look at it on our YouTube channel. Scroll back. You can see all the episodes, 400 of them, but scroll back to that one. That was hilarious. We had special guests, and it was just unbelievable. But if you could see in the corner there, right there, up, whoosh, right there. Those are there we go. Now you can see them. Anybody tuning in right now would say, what is he doing? Those are the balloons they're still inflated, left over from our anniversary show back there in the corner in the red area there. Isn't that cool? We got our money's worth with that. We had the whole set decorated for the anniversary show. It was cool. So those balloons are still there from the anniversary party. Good night, Dina, Jim, and all the lovelies. Thank you, Jane. You have a wonderful evening there in Sweden, where it's already, I believe, tomorrow. Can't wait for Rachel Ray to have an audience again. That was great. We had a ball, didn't we? The anniversary show, balloons, cool. Yep, they're still there, hovering around. And terrific show tonight, Jim. Thanks for all you do for us. My pleasure. Christine in North Carolina, Jim, tonight was a terrific conversation with Dina. It was a bonus to hear her perform live. Enjoyable evening. Always great lineups. Night, Jim, to all the lovelies. Troopity friends, too, and hugs. Hey, we also had a show yesterday. What we did is we took a previous broadcast where our dear friend Tony Lobianco, the amazing actor from The French Connection and soap operas, film, television, stage, he was a guest on the show, and it was a Memorial Day episode, and we aired it yesterday on the show. It was a re-air, but we threw in some extra new segments and features. If you missed it, it aired on Memorial Day yesterday. You can see it on our YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. Actor Tony Lobianco. We wanted to have a special surprise treat. We didn't announce it. We didn't post it anywhere. We didn't put it in our Facebook group, JMS Live Levity Hall. We didn't mention it on any social media. We just wanted to do a surprise Memorial Day tribute episode. And we took elements of a previous episode we did a year ago and blended them with some new segments, and it was terrific. And a lot of new people watched it, and they're still watching it on our YouTube channel. So if you missed that episode, there was an episode last night with film, stage, and television legend Tony Lobianco, and it was a special Memorial Day themed episode. You can see that as well. It was really cool, and he's terrific. He's a dear friend. He and Elise Lobianco, they're close friends and just really solid people. Have an awesome night, Jim. See you tomorrow. So I guess you're off from the New York Mets tomorrow, so that's good. You'll be here with us. Kathleen Walker, good night all in New York City. And thanks, gang. You guys are all the best. And Tess LaBella, of course. Tess, God bless you, Jim. Thank you for everything. Good night, Jim and Dina. Thank you, Tess, for your beautiful comments and support of our show and friendship and everything else that you do. Amy says, great show. Great show. Great show. Thank you very much. You have a good night. Great show, Jim, as always. Love Dina. Good night, everyone. You too, Juanita. Go get some sleep now. I know it's late where you are. Good night, Gracie from Supenza. Thank you, Jim and Dina. Cool stuff, gang. You're the best. This was another fantastic show. Night, everyone. And Marty says, sorry, I missed Dina. Had a mentor as a drummer. Must go back and watch it. Looking forward to seeing my dear friend and great comic, Al Ernst. Have a great day. Yeah, you're going to love this episode. So if anybody is watching and you missed any part of this episode, or you would like to see any of the amazing episodes, including our Memorial Day special surprise episode yesterday, you can do so by sticking right here on our YouTube channel, which is what you're watching right now, and scroll back. There's a lot of episodes with a lot of amazing, inspiring conversation and surprises and more for you there. 24/7 YouTube channel. And while you're there, if you haven't subscribed to it, share it. Tell everybody about our show. If you just dipped your feet in tonight for the first time, hey, good to have you with us, whether you're watching live and commenting, live and not commenting, or just watching later on in the archives, not watching live, but you're watching this later on. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. It means a lot to us. Tell all your friends about our entertainment lifestyle talk show series. It means the world to us. And it really does help the show. Big time. So, gang, don't forget, as we always say, a couple of things we always say. The Jim Masters Show Live is here for you 7 days a week, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And tell your friends, spread the word. Let's continue to build this show together. More people watching, more people checking it out. Don't forget, on our comments section, you probably see it says super chat and super emoji stickers. I know some of you have done that. That's something new that YouTube has added. I guess we earned that from the activity on our show in terms of people watching and sharing and views and all those cool things. So check that out. That really does help the show as well. And we appreciate those who have done that. It allows us to highlight your comments further with special colors, special stickers, special emojis when the show is live. That's called Super Chat and Super Emojis. And that's a brand new feature, and it's kind of cool. And it really does help us continue to deliver all of these episodes and all this production and all these hours just for you guys. You're off all week and you're vax day tomorrow. Fantastic. I am vaxxed and relaxed, just like Patrick McEnroe said he is. And good luck with that. You'll do just fine, Kathleen, and you have a good time. Don't forget to smile, everybody, and don't forget to share the lovity. Well, I don't know if you'll have a good time getting the vax. You'll be fine. You'll be fine, Kathleen. Just get some rest after and hydrate. And it's good you took the week off. That's perfect. Share the lovity, gang. We always say that. And don't forget to find your Zen place. Mine is with loving family and friends, and cycling and tennis and music and writing and the ocean. I love the ocean. Swimming, surfing, boogie boarding, sailing in it. Just being near the ocean. Of course, my work in television, radio, on air, on stage, on camera, behind the scenes, hosting, writing, producing, all of it. I love that work. And it brings me great joy, just like what our very special guest, pop rock Broadway drummer, author, and educator, Dina Toriello, does. She loves what she does. Always do what you love and share it with the world. And good stuff, gang. All right. This is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time till next time. Back tomorrow, live with more fun and entertainment, inspiration, comedy, learning, teachable moments, all of it on our entertainment lifestyle talk show series that we call JMS Live, or the Jim Masters Show Live. Have a good night, gang. We love you all. Thanks for being here with us. We really appreciate that. You are very valuable to us, whether you're watching live or later on. And we'll keep delivering for you as long as you guys are there, sharing, tagging, celebrating. We'll be here for you. Have a good night. Thanks for being with us. Bye-bye.